Okay, let's see how this goes since it's been about a month. Hello everyone, welcome back to our continuing adventures on the Let's Defend platform. We are going to tackle one of the new, because I'm taking about a month off from doing anything YouTube or Let's Defend or anything else like that. Busy with, let's say, work. And no, I can't go into much more detail besides that. We are going to work on one of the malware analysis exercises, suspicious browser extension, that I believe was released in September 2022 by, I thought it was Dr. Exploiter. And for disclosure's sake, I did help beta test this, so there might be some leaps in logic that may not necessarily come through or be explained, but it looks like two people have already done walkthroughs on this already, so. But anyways, so we have a extension. Person working in the accounting department wanted to add a browser extension, but it was deleted from his device because it was perceived as harmful by AVs. Can you analyze the situation by analyzing a suspicious browser extension? We are waiting for information from you. So we get the extension in a password-protected zip file as per the norm, and what, we have 12 questions? That's what it looks like. So let's see. Ooh, this is expanded. I just pulled up my notes from the beta, and there was only 10 questions, so we've got 2 extra. Okay, so what browser supports this extension? What is the name of the main file which contains metadata? How many JS files are in there? Go to crexcavator.io, see if the browser extension has already been analyzed by searching its name. Is it known in the community? Then we're going to do ext analysis and then check if the author's known. Okay, so it looks like that's one of the newer ones, but that's okay. We need to check how many URLs and domains are listed. Find the piece of code that uses the evasion technique, analyze it. This type of system is detected. What function is triggered in response? What keyword in a user visited URL will trigger the if condition statement in the code? Based on the analysis of the content.js, what type of malware is this? What domain/URL will data be sent to? And as a remediation measure, what type of credential would you recommend all affected users to reset? Okay. So, for simplicity's sake, I still have I put ext analysis in my Remnux box. Let's go ahead and get that visible. And we'll do a transition, and okay, that should show up there. But the first step is to basically figure out from here specifically what browser supports this extension. So we've got the hash in there, it's a CRX file, and of course they give us the nice little Chrome icon and virus total. So I'm going to assume that right off the bat, we're just going to go with Chrome. Let me get my other browser out of the way, and we will take that out. So, Chrome. Oh, full browser. So Google Chrome? Okay. Nothing wrong with using the hints. Okay, what is the name of the main file which contains metadata? How many JS files? So I don't suppose that would be something that would actually be broken down in the Remnux view. Let's bring that back in. Let's see if there's been like an updated analysis, if it will do anything. By the way, I don't know, it doesn't really show up all that well given the lighting, but I am wearing branded swag of the for Let's Defend. Realistically, it probably would be better if I had more black in the background, something along those lines, but it's a very comfortable shirt, so get your swag today. I don't know as to whether or not where the store is, but okay, so it looks like we have a little bit more than the last time it was analyzed. So yeah, okay, Google Chrome extension. Actually, can I make this a little bit bigger so it's a little bit easier for you guys to see? Okay. So if we go like relations, will it give us the breakdown in the individual? So supposedly only two bundled files, a DAT file and a content.js. If we go to excavator, oh, that's the walkthrough. I'll make sure to include. So finance. Yay. And that's specifically looking for Chrome. Okay, so I know that one of the questions asked if it was known in this. And that looks like that's a big old negative. We have special guest joining us, Little Butt. Although she's just decided to lay down on the floor as opposed to actually come into the camera view. But okay, so we know that that's a no. So for number 4, because it is not in there, and I think that's the only thing that we use that for. Well, how many JS files? I mean, let's just try this from the virus total, since it only showed the 2 bundled. Okay, so I don't think we're going to be able to sit there and go from the virus total. So I think in order to answer 2 and 3, I mean, we probably could sit there and open it up inside and kind of rip it apart. But I think we're just going to move on to actually just go through and do the analysis. So the ext analysis application is not a built-in thing into Remnux, but you can grab it, pop it on there, and basically get it installed into. It did not take very long at all. Basically, once she's up, it starts a local web server to go through and interact. So let me bring this back up. We're going to go through here, and basically, so it's just the local edge or local loopback, so the 127.0.0.1, and then of course port 13337. And you're just given this. You supply it the zip, XPI, or CRX file, and it goes to town. Now I've already got the analysis started. So we get the name. We get the manifest. .json, which then basically looks like it points to everything else. So at the same time, let's see as to whether or not if we can find. So we have a background.js. And this is, let's see if I can work this to make it easier to look at. I'll probably have to do that a few times for all of them. So we're looking at manifest.json, which that's the main file that's going to contain everything. So if we go back and again, we bring this back up. So, which contains the metadata. Okay, that's all the way through. Okay, so that has that. And yeah, so we could effectively unzip it and go through there, but I'm just going to go ahead and use ext analysis to get everything done. We can use one tool to get most of this stuff done. And then the JS. So according to manifest.json, we have background.js and content.js. So by that point, then instead of the one that was inside of VT that showed us, okay, number 2. And so let me bring back up the window. So I will call that out so everyone can see as to where we're getting that from. So I've expanded out the contents underneath manifest.json, underneath the basic info. And we're basically just counting JS files. So we have one here, content.js, and then we have background.js. So, do. Let's see, we already did 4, because that was the crexcavator.io. And is the extension known? Oh, author of the extension known. And they want a yes or no. Do we have an author? Unknown. So, I'm going to assume that's going to be no if it says unknown. Finance EIE or Finance I. Feeder. What is it? Ernest Young, EY? I think it has something to do with financial planning and stuff like that. So, attempted to look like maybe, I don't know. Often there are URLs and domains in malicious extensions. Using ext analysis, check the URLs and domains tab. How many URLs and domains are listed? And it should be numerical. So we're not sitting there and trying to actually use the word, we're just using numbers. So, URLs and domains. Ooh. So typically we have 2 URLs and we have 2 domains. So the question is, how anal retentive are we going to be in regards to this? Because it is and. So does that mean I count the URLs on top of the domains to give us a total of 4? Or because the domains are part of the URLs, does it only count as 2? And yes, I do have a unfortunate side effect of constantly overthinking every little things. Well, they are how many URLs and domains are listed. So we're going to try with the bigger answer, 4. Okay. So the question probably should be a little bit changed, just from my perspective, because it's and. So it should probably just be, if you only want to count those, so how many, how would you word it? How many URLs and then possibly separate domains that are not used in URLs? Something worded like that, I think. But, okay, well, we got it. Find the piece of code that uses an evasion technique. Analyze it. What type of systems is it attempting to evade, not invade. Okay, so let's start taking a look at individual files here. I think I have some of them popped out here. So here's background, HTML. Not seeing much of anything there. Content. There's our manifest.json. So technically, yes, we could have extracted all those files from our extension and opened them up in like Notepad++ and gotten something like this since it supports JSON. Style.css. Not much of anything there. Thank you. So let me blow that up a little bit more so it shows up. So everything has been English. And then, yeah, I can almost get my finger to almost perfectly line up where that thing is. Anyway, we've got what looks like some Chinese characters. So if we dump that in Google Translate, console log detected. So apparently, what? Chinese simplified. So that spells out detected. And it's calling for Chrome process to terminate. WebGL. So this looks like yes. This interesting snip of code, which I'll include a link to in the description for this so you can go through and take a look at the write-up that's been done. But this looks close, except the alert is instead of bot detected is just detected in Chinese characters, which you would not think. So this looks like it's looking for virtual machine. Yeah, since it's virtual machine aware phishing sites. So this thing is attempting to make sure that, okay, if it's being run inside of a virtual machine, that it does not actually run through and do its dirty. So I think we have enough to at least make an attempt. And of course, the hint is what type of system is VMware in VirtualBox. Technically, it would be a hypervisor, but I think is it virtual or do they want hypervisor? I don't know. We'll take a look. Virtual machine. So the hint would probably be better to attach that it's a two-word answer. Yeah, I may take that up with them. Okay, so what type of system is detected? What function is triggered in response? So if it's a virtual machine, it's gonna trigger something. Okay, so let's take a look. I'll go back to this. What does it try to do in the event that it is detected? No, let's not look at that. Let's look at the actual code that it's trying to go through to. Chrome process terminate. What's after the if statement? Well, console log detected. Because I just tried Chrome process terminate and then including the parentheses, 0 parentheses. And that didn't get us anywhere. So let's see as to whether or not if it's the actual just writing of the You've already tried this answer. So I did the full copy and paste as opposed to adding the... Okay. So you're not doing full copy and paste. Did a note at the end of the line, but... Okay, and then we're looking at what keyword is triggered. So let's bring that back up. Well, there's the individual code segments, and I believe that, yes, I have cleaned these up to show up a little bit better. Of course, now that just makes it more difficult because now we need to make this bigger. Can we just do the same thing? Yes, we can. Let's see. Background, console, request, log, exception, trace. This is what now? Background? Okay, we got a weird looking Google Analytics. Okay, content.js, okay. Yes. So using the JavaScript deobfuscator on the contents of content.js, since it looks like it's what, hex values through a bunch of stuff, so we just have it go through and plop it out. So we get add listener, request on before add listener. So we get this turns into this. And it looks like it's looking for, so it's doing a string match, looking for login.aspx. And the hint is to look out for it in the reg expression. So the question is, what? Do they want the entirety of what they're trying to match in the string? To me, it just looks like they're looking for login.aspx. So $sign. Nope, wrong answer. So are they looking for the dot asterisk question mark? I mean, I just would have figured it would have been login.aspx, but it does not appear to be the case. All right, I'm going to pull it down and do a hash verification to make sure that it's the same exact file that make sure that I don't have to go through and redo the analysis again. Maybe something's been updated. So we go ahead and pause and we'll pick back up. Okay. It's not what string, it's the keyword. So this is where reading the questions is important. And of course, the keyword is login. Tried a couple of other aspects before that, hit this, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is the right answer. It's like, apparently I'm just a little out of habit. Okay, but we got that. Based on the content.js, what type of malware is this? Keylogger? What domain URL will the data be sent to? Now that yes, that was the background.js. Let me bring that back up. Let me bring up my VMware window. Bing, bang, boom. Okay, can I make this smaller without that much of a decrease? I think that still looks okay. Anyway, so we get all this blasted code. But there is Google Analytics. Which doesn't seem to do a whole heck of a lot. But if we put that together, we end up getting Google-Analytics-CM.com, which looks odd as all get out. And then analytics-3032344. But it ends in a dot. Why does it end in a dot? All right, let's... We're still ending a dot. Like almost like it'd be an extension. Maybe wild, so you're gonna end with a dot. So there must be something else added to it. So we gotta try to figure out what. does D6 mean? Okay, this is a little bit bigger. So console this D5 plus XT. But that doesn't show up anywhere else. Okay, I'm gonna sit there and find some sort of JavaScript engine I can try running this code through. Okay, I got it. More by stupid luck than anything else like that. I was not able to sit there and make a determination as to what the D6 was supposed to represent. But I took a look further up. So we got the domain. And apparently, so it's trying to sit there and denote that there's some sort of additional package. I didn't see much of anything else that explained it further on, but above that, there's a this D5 and then plus XT. I think I could figure was TXT isn't just a simple text document, since I don't know many other things it would be. I mean, maybe EXT, but I kind of just fired on blind luck. And apparently it took it, so apparently it was TXT. Although I still a little bit left in the, well, left with questions as to how that's supposed to actually form out. But, okay. What type of, okay, the last question, right? Yeah. As a remediation measure, what type of credential would you recommend all affected users to immediately reset? Well, since it's a keylogger, password. There, bada boom, bada bing. That puts it all together. So I will get this put together, get out, and so we'll have a video for this weekend. And so I have to include the I'll include the virus total. I'll include a link to the ext analysis, the walkthrough portion that I found, the deobfuscator.io. What else was that I ended up actually needing throughout this? Oh yes, and the link to the virtual machine aware phishing sites page. That basically allowed me to understand more, since analysis was already done in regards to the code that was going through there. I suppose I could probably also include the Google Translate aspect of the Chinese characters and the like. It has it stand out, but so I'll get all that stuff put together, and then I think we have, let's take a look and see what else is on. I thought we had, yes, as of September 2022 as well, a forensic or Windows forensics. So I'll get that put together for release and walkthrough. Is that the very first hard one? No. Revil ransomware was a hard one. Oh, and then Red Team Tools, everything else. So, okay, well, this will be interesting. But so there we go. That has been suspicious web, or well, suspicious browser extension, released, I believe, September 2022. 12 questions, 1 password protected zip file with a quote-unquote malicious browser extension for Chrome. But, so that all being said, I will see everybody in the next video.